Cornered animals sometimes violently lash out, and that's a really appropriate analogy for what we're about to look at. Donald Trump is now blatantly threatening the healthcare of Americans, saying that during shutdowns like the one we're in right now, you can just start cutting. You can cut people's benefits. You can do things medically. Now, I don't want to read too much into the looks on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s face and Dr. Oz's face here, but even they seem disgusted with Donald Trump coming out here, and it's not even implicitly, it's explicitly threatening Americans.
I told you we have $17 trillion being invested, so the last person that wants to shut down is us. Now, with that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that.
It's important. Oh, this is so bad. I don't even know where to start. I should mention, it's sort of like the law doesn't matter anymore, so I hesitate to start with this, but Trump can't legally do anything with the shutdown going on that he couldn't do without the shutdown going on. Now, he can try to do things for sure. It's possible that the Supreme Court would actually okay it, but they would have anyhow, probably. But the whole point here is Donald Trump's claim that you can do more things during a shutdown is not supported by law, but I don't know how much the law matters anymore. But one of the really important narratives that's developed here is the idea that Democrats are trying to keep their own healthcare subsidies, like elected Democrats. But the truth is that elected Democrats in the House and Senate make too much money to get those subsidies. So I don't know where Trump is getting that. Trump was actually asked about this by a reporter. Here's the answer to what he said.
Time for that.
They're not eligible for the health care subsidies that Democrats are demanding. So can you clarify, what are you talking about when you say Democrats want to protect their health care?
So when an illegal person comes in, a person who came into our country illegally, therefore breaking the law. And look, we all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than you do. They're all breaking the law, and they're coming into our country. And we just, as a country, cannot afford to take care of millions of people who have broken the law coming in. We want them to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. Now we have a...
And I think I actually misunderstood the video the first time I saw it. So there's two sides to this. There's elected Democrats wanting to keep subsidies, which some Republicans have said they're trying to keep them for themselves. They earn too much money to qualify. Trump is at least responding here with regard to undocumented immigrants. And of course, undocumented immigrants don't get Obamacare healthcare subsidies. But then Trump just goes into one of these xenophobic, jingoistic type of rants, and it doesn't even really matter what the truth is here. We can't afford this, we can't afford that. Well, we're not paying for any of those things. And thank goodness a reporter at least tried to call it out. But Trump doesn't care. He's threatening. He's going to take away. He's going to be the authoritarian he dreams of being. Now, finally, a member of the White House press pool, tell me if you think this is a reporter, asks Trump, has Nancy Pelosi lost her mind?
While Nancy Pelosi is ignoring what you're doing for the American people, she's going after your administration for cutting taxpayer-funded health care for illegal aliens. Last night, Nancy Pelosi, she went on NBC last night, dropped a bunch of F-bombs, told Republicans to go F themselves. Has she lost her mind?
We have done an unbelievable job medically. Just this, if you did nothing else, we've done a lot like the insulin, but just this, nobody can ever catch this. This is the biggest price reduction times, maybe 10 times, 15 times than has ever been given before. And this is gonna have a huge impact. You know, as I said, Obamacare is not a good thing, it's been bad. And I'd like to make it better. I told them, I spoke to a lot of people, a lot of Democrats recently. I said, why don't we change it? We can make Obamacare much better. We could come up with a new system that would be much better, less expensive for the people and better. this is maybe the biggest breakthrough because, when you're talking about the prescription drugs, that's a big part of it. So we're going to look. This is prescription, but we're going to be looking at that. We could come up and through this whole thing, because I don't know, we'll probably have a shutdown because one of the things they want to do is they want to give incredible Medicare, the Cadillac Medicare to illegal immigrants.
Yeah. Of course, as we know, that is not true. They do not qualify. But really tough questions being asked here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. coughed at one point. Trump seemed very worried that he might catch something from him.
But insulin was, people weren't taking it, I would imagine. They couldn't take it. God bless you, Bobby. I hope I didn't catch COVID just there. Don't you have Paxlovid? What is it? He's got Paxlovid.
Maybe Trump knows something about Bobby that we don't know. I don't know. The mathematical incoherence was rife throughout this entire presentation. Donald Trump again promising 1,000% declines in prices. He says there's never been anything like it, and I agree, because it is not mathematically possible.
And similar kind of numbers. But we're going to show you some 1,000% drops in prices. Wow. There has never been anything like this in the history of medicine, and it's an honor. And Albert, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody behind me, because you are a great team. We have a great team. Everybody says you have a great cabinet. It's a great team. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
And I agree. We will not be seeing anything like what we've seen before because there's no way to have 1,000% decline in the price of something. Absolutely. Last thing, Trump can't get away from any event without talking about trans people in sports. He's just obsessed with it. He's got a hammer and everything to him looks like a nail.
We have a big fight over that. We have a fight over open borders. They still want open borders. We're having a fight over men and women's sports, if you believe it. You would have thought they would have learned that it's not a good issue. And we have a fight in transgender, as you know, transgender for everybody. And that, when you talk medically, that's a lot of money, too. That's a lot. Those operations are bad. So those things are also being discussed right now. I mean, can you imagine we're actually talking about open borders and we now have a great border?
Anyway, Trump rammed through an executive order banning trans women from women's teams. We all said it doesn't really seem he has the authority to do that. This is actually administered at the state level and it's administered by athletic institutions, athletic regulatory bodies. But if Trump believed his executive order solved the problem, why is he still talking about it as a problem? None of it makes any sense. This is the United States under Donald Trump.